Hey guys, welcome back. This is Miss Adams again. Now that we've talked about what is a function, we're now going to identify different types of functions. So in Algebra 1, we're going to focus on three types of functions: linear, quadratic, or exponential functions. So I'm going to give you this chart that shows us the different types of functions. We have a linear function with the equation y equals mx plus b. If we look at this equation, we can look at the degree of the equation on our x term here. That x term has an understood 1 for its exponent, so it's in the first degree. And a linear function is going to have a line for its graph. Then we move into quadratics. Now, we will go into depth with quadratics a lot more second semester, but looking at just the basic what a quadratic function looks like, if I'm looking at the equation, it's going to be y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is in the second degree. Its graph is going to be what we call a parabola. It looks like a U or a bowl. It has an axis of symmetry, so if I were to split this graph in half, it would be symmetric, so both sides would look the same. And then we go into exponential functions. Exponential functions have a degree of x, so y equals a multiplied by b to the xth degree. These functions are going to kind of look like a roller coaster. So they start off where they don't have much of a slope, which we'll get into slope next unit, and then they're going to go a lot steeper, whether it be negatively or positively. So in this case, our slope is positive, but that is an exponential function. So let's see if we can identify some of these functions. Let's start off with this first one. We have y equals 2x plus 3. The first thing we need to look at is what degree does this equation have? Well, it's understood to have a 1 on our variable here, which our variable is x. So since it has a degree of 1, this is a linear function. Let's look at our next equation. I've given you y equals 3x squared plus 4x plus minus 1. Well, the degree here is 2, and a function that has a degree of 2 is going to be a quadratic function. Let's look at the third equation given to us. We're given y equals 2 multiplied by 5 to the x degree. Anything to the x degree is going to be an exponential function. And let's quickly go through these last three. Now that we know what the degree should be and we know what some of these equations look like, if we're looking at this one, we have y equals x squared minus 9. That has a degree of 2, so it's a quadratic function. If we're looking at our second example here, we have a degree of x for this 4 times 3 to the x power minus 1. So this is an exponential function. And our last function given to us on this example page is y equals x plus 5. The x is understood to have a degree of 1, so this is a linear function. Now let's look at some of the graphs and see if we can identify them. So this first graph kind of looks like a roller coaster. It has a steep drop and then it starts to steady out towards the end. Anything that looks like that that's not consistent, like the degree is not consistent, that's going to be exponential. Our next graph given to us is a line, so therefore it is a linear function. And the last graph given to us had that weird name. It's a parabola. It looks like in this case, it's an upside down parabola, or it's a turned over bowl, whatever you're comfortable with. And we're going to call this a quadratic function. So just to recap, the three types of functions we're going to focus on in Algebra 1 are linear, quadratic, and exponential functions. Linear functions have a degree of 1, and they form a line. Quadratic functions have a degree of 2, and they form a parabola. Remember, that parabola is symmetric, so it is a curved graph, but it's a symmetric curved graph. And then we had our exponential functions, and these had a degree of x, and they also had a curved line. Kind of looked like the roller coaster of all of these graphs given. Thank you guys for working with us today, and have a great Bulldog day.